Yeah, it's a great question. So when I was presented with the opportunity to jump back into the founder seat, I initially rejected that opportunity. I had a lot of things going on. I had still had PTSD from the last time and the way it went down, when my last company finished. And also, my mom wasn't doing so well health wise, and my wife was pregnant.
Mhm.
And I was like, you know what? This is not a good year to start a new company. I know what that's like. I know what it's like to start a new company. This is the fifth company that I've been a part of launching, and I knew what it would take, and I knew what it was asking of me to do it. And so I initially just kind of said, not this year. I'll support the founder. I'll support somebody who wants to tackle this, but not me.
Mhm.
And when I had left my last company, I knew that eventually I was going to want to be a founder again. Like, if you're a founder, you just kind of it gets in your blood. And there's very few things in this world that are as exciting as going from an idea to literally seeing people walk into your office that believe in this idea so much that they were willing to quit their comfy jobs at Meta to come be a part of your team. It's an incredible experience, and I've done it a few times, and I knew what it would be like to do it again. But I put together 4 non-negotiables back in 2020 as my last company was winding down. And I said, I'm never going to be a founder again unless all 4 of these things are true at the same time. And from 2020 to 2025, it helped me not just go found another company for the sake of founding another company. They were a high enough barrier of entry. And one of the ones, the one that probably disqualified the most opportunities that came my direction, especially in the age of vibe coding, especially in the age of transient software, where if you decided to this weekend, we could launch a company and get our first client on Monday. The thing that kept me from doing any of those things was one of my non-negotiables for ever being a founder again was it had to be a 10-year problem. I had to believe that I wanted to think about, talk about it, and obsess about solving a problem for a decade if I was going to begin to work on any of the problems. And with that comes, especially right now, the true understanding that the solution to the problem that I'm setting out to work on for the next 10 years doesn't exist yet. And the software or the platform to make it exist actually might not even exist yet. But directionally, I know I understand the problem enough to know it's not something that I'm just going to be able to figure out with some smart people in 2 years. And so that was kind of like the big thing. And so I worked on some climate tech projects, which I'm super proud of the work that we did there, but I never went all in on any one in particular. And so when the opportunity was presented to me to think about what we're building with grocery, what we're building with Stretch around the grocery industry, and I started to think about the 650,000 families that we'd helped with basket.com. I'm a big journaler, and I went back and I reread some of my journals, and I was looking at some of the families who like literally send me Christmas cards still. Like when I announced that my wife and I were pregnant, like they were in my Facebook comments, like saying, hey, it's so great to see you've got a family of your own now. Like these are people who like I genuinely built a relationship with because we were saving them thousands of dollars a year on groceries by providing price and transparency for groceries in the same way that Expedia does for travel or Zillow does for homes. And I thought about it and I was like, okay, well, the data is different, but the problem's the same. But with the data being different, things that changed during the pandemic around the way that the data was structured, I started to explore, I started to scratch the itch a little bit more. And then I was like, oh man, not only is this a 10-year problem, not only is this something that I would want to talk about for 10 years, I've already been talking about it for 12. And so I went to my wife and I said, hey, I think I've got to do this. And she said, I think you do. And as a family, we made the decision and jumped in, and it's been an incredible decision and absolutely the right one, given everything else that's happened since we decided to take the plunge.